Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ranger Guide Part 4. In the previous part, I mostly spent time touching on Ranger's super armors, frontal guards, and iframes. These are very important as Ranger is a very CC vulnerable class with no block or spammable iframe. So for this guide, I'm going to go actually talk about how to actually kill your opponent. As of right now, Ranger needs to expend a lot of offensive abilities just to utilize their super armor on them. Which can limit what you can actually pull off in a combo. Because of this, there's no single combo you can always rely on and use, and you kind of need to improvise with everything in your arsenal in order to take down the more difficult opponents. However, there is a glimmer of light in the hopefully not too distant future in the shape of the absolute skills or the Jin skills in Korea. These are like direct buffs to the bow, which means it'll actually be able to do significant damage in PvP as well as PvE, which will be useful too. For EU and NA servers, we may still be a ways off them. It's kind of unclear. We don't really know when the patch will hit for those kind of skills, and it's also kind of unlikely that we would get them before we get the less valuable Rablem system, which Korea also got first, which fuses pre-awakening skills together into new ones. However, there's not really a way I can demonstrate the Rablem skills, and I don't really know enough about them personally to include information on them. Once they are implemented, I could do maybe an update to this guide, but in the meantime, I can talk about the absolute skills as they're just buffed pre-awakening abilities rather than brand new skills. So getting straight into the combos here, a very basic combo. If someone is in super armor or in a block and you get to them, you can just use grapple when they're on the floor, then tremble, and then regeneration. Hope for the regeneration down smash because that'll give you lots of extra damage. This is very good for being very basic and can often do the job on its own, especially if a player is undergeared. You'll usually do enough damage, or if they just don't have very high DP perhaps, I don't know. Or maybe you have really high AP, I don't know. But it is enough to kill a lot of people, so it's quite nice to know that, as well as the fact that you'll need to use your grapple against super armored opponents. So this is different. This is actually someone that is, let's say they're not actually in super armor, and you catch them with rushing wind or breezy blade, then you don't have to use your grapple to get them on the floor immediately. Instead, it's better to use something like Regeneration, Elven Rage, or maybe Tempest to get them on the floor. This combo here is kind of like niche. It's using Vine Knot to get the knockdown, which is not really super reliable, but if it does fail and you do have your grapple, you can always use your grapple if Vine Knot fails. But in this case, obviously it doesn't. She gets me on the floor, Waltz of Wind, and then straight into the flow, into Shotgun, just to get out of that. So it's kind of a more interesting combo in that sense, and she could have always used the grapple to extend it. So this is a defensive play. So let's say you're getting someone on the floor, and then maybe someone's coming to back them up quickly or something like that. She's then going into Will of the Wind and then into Q just to get away from me in case, maybe I retaliate or I have an ally or something coming. So this is using Elven Rage's flow, Disillusion, in order to knock people down. Elven Rage knocks people down, but also the flow does. The problem with the flow is it doesn't have protection, so you have to be very careful when you choose to use it. But you can catch people, like other rangers coming out of Call from Sky or other things like that, because you can change the direction of the flow, so it's worth keeping in mind. This, as you will probably know, is Pinpoint Blasting Gust, which is a long-range bow knockdown. So you can see I used it to get the knockdown and then did a bit of damage and then used the grapple to extend the combo. So you can see here, Breezy Blade, Rushing Wind, a little bit of Vine Knot, and then the grapple, and then I go into bow form. Now you'll notice that we do it differently. She likes to use Heavenly Knot. I use C-Swap to get into the bow. It's just a preference thing. Personally, I prefer just using C to get out of the bow, and if you do it quickly, you can swap very quickly. I don't really like Heavenly Knot, but if you want to use Heavenly Knot, you can use it too. So this is just showing using Evasive Explosive out of your Call from Sky. Obviously it does have an iframe, but you can use it offensively to activate the stun on it, and if you do get a stun on someone, you can quickly basically turn around and then Breezy Blade straight into them, and then knock them on the floor, get a grapple or whatever you need to do to extend the combo long enough to get the kill. So it's important to also keep in mind that when you see the bow form being used, it's going to be much better once we get the absolute skills. They'll do a lot more damage. You generally shouldn't need to extend combos as long, although if you are fighting someone that's very, very much outgearing you, it is useful to know how to extend your combos as long as possible and to practice doing so, because you obviously won't have enough AP perhaps to kill them, but with the absolute skills, maybe you can kill someone that drastically outgears you as long as you can extend the combo and avoid being CC'd yourself. So it's just something to keep in mind while you're going out. So you can see here that this is another combo, but instead of using regeneration or something like that, she's using the flow out of the Q, which is Tempest, to get the knockdown. So if someone isn't super armored, of course it will work. And you can see there that once I was starting to get up, she used the grapple to get me back on the floor, and then used the bow to kill me. So it's important to think of these kind of things that you may not usually think about. Like you don't usually use Tempest in PvP that much, so it's just another option to knock someone down if you burned your cooldowns protecting yourself, which, as I've said earlier in the beginning of the video, Ranger has to use a lot of your offensive abilities to do that. So this is her using 136 AP versus my 303 DP. So you can see here that she is able to do quite a lot of damage despite having very, very low AP. Now, this is without the absolute bow skill, so the damage she's doing here would actually kill me with 136 AP. So like I was talking about earlier, it's important to know how to do long combos because, it would allow you to kill someone that has significantly better gear than you. Also, if you do have not enough accuracy because someone has a lot of evasion, you will hit them, just not as frequently as you'd like. So it's important that if someone does have that kind of build against you, that you can retaliate by being able to do a long combo on them and hopefully eventually do enough damage to kill them. So this is the other way around, where I'm using 136 AP against her. So you can see it from my perspective. Use Tempest. Unfortunately, no knockdown extra from regeneration there. Like I said, it's not wholly reliable. And there you can see that she survives with a little bit of HP, but considering the amount of AP being used here, and it's not just the AP you lose when you drop all these accessories, you also lose accuracy. It's important to remember as well, because accessories all carry accuracy, even if they're not like red coral earrings or a tree belt or something like that. So you can see here in slow motion, and you can see the swap I do. Instead of using Heavenly Knot, I use the C-swap, and Heavenly Knot is something you would use right out of the grapple, but it can also activate out of other skills. I think it's Vine Knot or something, and it can mess you up sometimes if you misplay the buttons. So yeah, this is just showing chip damage from the bow. Now it's very, I guess, sketchy would be the word to use doing this, because it can backfire where someone can really gap close on you very quickly. You need to know the distances that someone can engage on you, so you just have to be careful. So this combo that I'm doing here is a combo that's very, very quick in terms of how quickly you activate it. And it's let's just say you have a lot of skills like regeneration off of cooldown, or sorry, on cooldown and things like that. That combo is pretty good. You can do quite a lot of damage with it. And then you can use, if clearly the person is getting up, then you can just use evasive explosive to get out of there. So that's just another combo just to show you. So you can see there's the actual down smash from regeneration that she's hoping for. So just showing you these two different types of combos. They're pretty basic. It's important to know as many as you can, and there's ones that aren't shown in this video that you can work on yourself, and you might be able to find something that you prefer. I mean, it's very important to also check with skill add-ons as well as the skill effects. A lot of skills give you different abilities, or sorry, different buffs when you use them. For example, your Q gives you crit, so it's important to know that sort of stuff. So this is me fighting a friend of mine called Kinorethi, who is one of the best warriors, not the most geared, but one of the best that I ever fight ever. I don't know. He's just very, very good. He's also even harder to kill because he has a Tri-Manos ruby necklace, which has grapple resistance, which means it's almost impossible for me to actually grapple him. As you can see, a lot of them fail, so it makes it even harder for me to kill him, which is makes it a lot of fun actually, because, well, it's frustrating in some senses, but it's a lot of fun to actually try and learn. See there, I was actually so surprised I got him on the floor that I didn't properly do a combo on him. But yeah, Warrior is one of the harder matchups for Ranger, I feel, especially when they have Tri-Manos. I guess Warrior and Dark Knight would be my hardest matchups, I think, out of all the classes to fight, just because of their toolkits. Dark Knight's very, very difficult to catch, and they chip you down with damage, and you can't really properly protect yourself like other classes might be able to. So I always find that quite difficult to deal with, but at least with the absolute skills, we're about to use our Awakening toolkit more liberally in order to protect ourselves and still have enough to kill an opponent once we finally get them on the floor. Warrior is incredibly difficult because obviously the only way to get them on the floor usually is a grapple. Occasionally you can get them another way, but it's not as common. So as you can see, Kina is just toying with me most of the time. Very, very difficult, but finally I land a grapple and I get the down smash from regeneration, so I'm actually able to do enough damage after I tremble him to kill him. But those are few and far between. Kina does get me most of these fights. I actually switched to my Kudum for a little bit more survivability to try it, but it's still very difficult to actually be able to take him down, mostly because of the grapple issues. You can see I got him grappled there, but not nearly enough damage. I don't know if I just missed a lot or whatever, but the combo wasn't enough to kill him, so that's pretty much my chance blown there. One mistake and I'm dead, and that's where it is, so a rip. But yeah, these fights are very interesting. I thought I'd put them on here just to show kind of how difficult it can be, and you know, just it's more a variety of like the previous, where you saw me trying to the previous guide where I was trying to, you know, demonstrate super armors and things like that. You can see that a lot here with Warrior. You have to be so very careful because you know, they can gap close so fast and engage completely protected, and then, you know, for example, if you might want to use your weapon swap coming out of Call from Sky, if you use it too close, a Warrior can still CC you coming directly at you because they like sort of land behind you and CC you from behind, because obviously that's only a frontal guard. So you have to be incredibly careful with those, as well as using your super armors when you absolutely need them, basically. So you can see here I'm able to get him again, but like I said, I'm picking these to make myself look better. Most of the time he kills me. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful to you. And if you have any further questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. You can also join my Discord, because I'm always in there. Just make sure you ask for the BDO role if you're going to do that, so I can give you the actual tag to see the BDO sections. But there's also a Ranger Discord, and there's a lot of cool people in there that'll also be able to help you with any follow-up Ranger questions. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I will be making more Ranger videos. I don't know what they'll specifically be on. I don't know that there's necessarily a need for part 5 to this guide, even with the absolute skills, but perhaps with the Rablams, maybe I might do that. If not, I'll just make more general Ranger videos. But thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video.